Welcome back to the party, everybody. I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. How's everybody doing? Let's hit that like and subscribe and let's party. Happy 4th of July. Happy Independence Day to all of you. What is going on with my mic? I do not know. But we had some terrible storms up here in Jersey. I don't know about the rest of you guys, but I figured some of your barbecues might have been rained out. So I've been waiting to do this for a while, and I figure what better time? I was actually challenged to do this as some sort of, challenge of whether I'm grifting or not, but the political compass test. So this has a bunch of other markings on it, but we're gonna go through the whole test and just see where I land. It'll be very interesting to see. I've actually never done one of these before. And somebody was telling me that I would probably be all like way far left and whatever. And like I don't really care where I land. My opinions are my opinions. I think the political compass is just something that would be helpful in determining, where you stand in general. Not really as like a end all be all. This is what it is. So in the thumbnail, I have where I think I'm going to end up, but let's take the test and see what we got. All right, 6 pages. Okay, so number 1. So just a few propositions to start with concerning no less how you see the country and the world. All right, a little bigger. There we go. All right, number 1. If economic globalization is inevitable, it should primarily serve humanity rather than the interests of transnational corporations. Strongly agree. I'd support my country whether it was right or wrong. So the way that I'm reading this one is like in wartime, because there's a lot about the country. There's a lot about, the whole, I don't know what's going on here. Give me a sec. There we go. Whatever. There's a lot about the, the country that I don't necessarily agree with. But would I support my country? I think yes. I would always. So let's go with agree on that one. Not a strongly agree. No one chooses their country of birth, so it's foolish to be proud. Well, the first part is true, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be proud of anything else. So agree or strongly disagree? I'm going to say disagree, because it does, it does make sense. It does come into it that you don't choose it. So it's not, you wouldn't have as much pride in it as something that you did have a choice or that you put effort into. Shout out to Lil Toes. Yeah, little rain, right? That's all right. We got a party here for you. Welcome. So yeah, we'll go with disagree. No one chooses their country of birth, so it's foolish to be proud of it. I am very proud to be an American, especially because my parents weren't born here. Right. Our race has many superior qualities compared with other races. I mean, yeah, I think Indians do pretty well in a number of areas. I don't think that's too controversial. Next one. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. So if my enemy is Opus, shout out to Opus. Welcome. Definitely not an enemy, but we'll just use you. Said everyone should be proud of their country. The biggest mistake I see in younger folks who think supporting their country means supporting the bad things the government does. Exactly. That doesn't mean that because I would always support America, that I support everything America does. Just like if you're in a relationship with another person, just because you love that person and you want to be with that person doesn't mean that they can't do anything that you wouldn't support. So the enemy of my enemy. So if Opus is my enemy and Lil Toes is Opus's enemy, does that make him my friend? Could be, but I'm going to say disagree, just based on how simple it is. Exactly. It depends on if they happen to be your enemy as also. So I'm going to go with disagree on that one. Military action that defies international law is sometimes justified. Yeah, I'd say agree on that. Yeah, I think there's, we can't have, international law isn't going to encompass everything that could possibly happen. So I'm going to say not strongly, but agree. Moving on. There is now a worrying fusion of information and entertainment. Strongly agree. Definitely. All right. Page 2. Now the economy. We're talking attitudes here, not the FTSE index, and I don't even know what that is, so I'm not going to mix that up. All right. People are ultimately divided more by class than nationality.
Yes.
Strongly agree. Controlling inflation is more important than controlling unemployment. My intuition is to say definitely yes. But controlling unemployment, I feel like, yeah, I'm going to say inflation is more important because people who aren't working can always be put into the position where they are working. But if the money isn't worth anything, then it doesn't really matter whether you're employed or you're unemployed. We're all broke. So let's say controlling inflation, strongly agree. Because corporations cannot be trusted to voluntarily protect the environment, they require regulation. Because corporations cannot be trusted to violate. So I'm going to say disagree. I do believe that corporations cannot be trusted to voluntarily protect the environment. I absolutely agree with that. But what this says is because corporations, they require regulations. That's not why they require regulations. The reason they require regulations is because the average person isn't going to look into the companies that they're buying from. And so it will be hidden. If people had a little bit more accountability with where the stuff that they consume, where it comes from, then I would say that the free market would be able to correct for that. So I do believe that we require regulation, but not because the corporations cannot be trusted. It's because the people cannot be trusted. So I'm going to go with disagree. So this is a quote: "From each according to his ability, to each according to his need, is a fundamentally good idea." I've heard this. I'm not really sure the context. Okay, from each according to his ability, to each according to his need. That's, yeah. I mean, that sounds. The part that's throwing me off is to each according to his need. That sounds like we want to just give everybody anything, but it has the word fundamentally. So I'm going to agree. I'm going to agree. Shout out to Zippy. He says no. I'm going to say that it is a good idea. It is a good idea. That doesn't mean it's necessarily good in practice. I'm going by word for word. It says fundamentally a good idea. Fundamentally, it is a good idea that each of us who has something to contribute to society should contribute to that, and that if we are a strong society because of that, then if there are people in need, they should be able to they should be able to get that. Now, again, if you play that out and we say, is this a good policy? Now we're getting into a different realm. It is. It does. It is. Let's shout out to Xander. It does sound a little communisty, but it's not asking about policy. It says, is it fundamentally a good idea? And I agree that it is a good idea. Welcome to the party. Zippy says, shout out to Zippy. He said, just say no. I gotta be honest here, guys. I gotta be honest. I gotta, a lot of you are gonna be a lot farther to the right than I am, and a lot of you are gonna be further to the left, and that's okay. That's okay. But I want to be honest because I really want to know where I fall on this. And like I was saying in the thumbnail, I put kind of where I think I'm gonna end up. I kind of make a bigger picture there to give me a little bit of wiggle room, but. Yeah, that's I do believe that is a good idea. So he says it's not a good idea. If it can't work in the real world, it's not fundamentally a good idea. We don't know that it can't work. Communism doesn't work, but that's not the only iteration of this idea that from each according to his ability to each according to his need. That's not the only way that can be manifested. So yes, communism is fundamentally a bad idea, but this is not necessarily communism, unless I'm ignorant and this is like a Marx quote or something. If this is a Marx quote, then that changes things. because it is in quotations, and I don't know where it's from, and I don't want to Google anything. I kind of want to keep it contained, but it's not even talking about policy within the home, within your friend group. That is a good idea. It just doesn't scale. So I'm going to stick with that. I agree that it is a good idea fundamentally. It may not be a good idea for politics. It may not be a good idea for all of America, but it is fundamentally a good idea. So it says communism is sometimes seen as a good idea on paper, but not in action. Well, exactly. That's they're asking about the fundamental aspect of the idea, not the practicality. So I will stick with that. And that is why if they ask that because it is fundamentally a good idea, we should roll out policy based on that good idea, I would say no. But that's not the question. Exactly. It could work in the real world. It just doesn't scale. Yep. Is it? It's fear marks. Well, I mean, broken clocks right twice a day. What can I say? What can I say? It's not a bad idea. All right. The freer the market, the freer the people. Strongly agree. All right. That's an easy one. It's a sad reflection. It's fear marks. Oh, well. Oh, well. I guess there's something just like Andrew Tate, just like destiny. There's been something that Karl Marx has said that I agree with. Imagine that. And that's fine. You can do it in any way that you please. But I am looking at these questions and I am answering them based on the question. So, and maybe that will skew how my results are. But it is what it is. Hey, shout out to Nick in the building. Happy Independence Day to you as well. Welcome. We've lost him. Not yet. Hey, this is all stuff I already thought. So if anything, despite agreeing with a Marx quote, I'm here. I got you. All right. It's a sad reflection on our society that something as basic as drinking water is now bottled branded consumer product. I would agree. I don't think it's. I'm not going to go strongly agree because we should be all be able to have like our own wells and like there would be mechanical wells and then you have a well guy that comes out to the house and whatever. That's really what would be ideal, but that's not the world we live in. So it is a sad reflection. It's not the worst thing in the world, but sad reflection in my eyes. Land shouldn't be a commodity to be bought and sold. Strongly disagree. It is regrettable that many personal fortunes are made by people who simply manipulate money and contribute nothing to society. I'm going to go with disagree on that one. Because, again, this is the same reason why I disagreed with the idea of regulation being because businesses are going to do this, that, and the other. The point of a business is to maximize profit. The point of a consumer is to be responsible for what you consume. So, it is, it's not ideal for everybody for there to be those loopholes or whatever you want to call it, where you could make a lot of money by not providing anything. But if you can, more power to you. Opus said, there's nothing wrong with convenience products, which is what bottled water is. I mean, yes, but I agree with you. That's why I'm not in the strongly agree. But it is weird that it is something that people stock up on instead of, we know that it's in the ground. We know that like you can get it from the pipes. It's just, it's again, that's why I didn't go with strongly, but definitely a weird thing. Exactly. If you can't own land, you can't own property. That was an easy one for me. Money is also a product in itself. True. Unwanted Foe said, nah, drinking water requires filtering, boiling, and many people don't want to take the time to do that. But what I'm saying is, the same way that if you want water without plumbing, you have to go down to a natural water source. But people don't want to do that, so they have plumbing. If you want that, then you can just add the filtering thing on your spigot. I have one. I just have to get another filter. So the fact that most people are buying the bottles instead of, and you've seen a change over the last 5 to 10 years of people carrying around water bottles. It used to be just gym bros that would have their gallon. Now everybody has it. So I think that is a good thing. I think a lot of times people are, misguided and thinking that they're saving the climate when they're doing that. But, I just think it's a better idea. Like, whether or not climate change is real, whether or not the America is, at the forefront of it, then certainly less plastic bottles is better. So the fact that there were more plastic bottles before, and that people are recognizing that it is just as easy, and it is not as much of a well, it is a convenience, but it's just as easy theoretically to just buy a bottle and a filter. That's exactly what I was. I don't know what I was thinking about when I said personal wells in the back, as if we don't already have pipes coming into the house. Moron. Opposite, I don't think wealthy people not contributing their fair share is as big a problem as the lefties think. Agreed. I do think it is a problem, but that's not a problem with the people who are not paying their fair share. That is a problem with those of us who aren't smart enough to tell the politicians, hey, there's a loophole here, and if you don't fix it, you're not getting my vote. That's our responsibility. That's our responsibility, not theirs. If you find a loophole, take that shit. Take it. Zippy said it would be nice if money was based on average worker take-home money and no benefits rather than gambling of the elite. Wouldn't it be nice? All right, moving on. Protectionism is sometimes necessary in trade. Okay, well, I definitely need a definition for that. Protectionism. Oh, okay. Protectionism, the theory or practice of shielding a country's domestic industries from foreign competition by taxing. Okay, so taxing is sometimes necessary in trade. Again, my initial thing is to say no, but we're already in a system where tax and tariff is already part of that system. Sometimes, and like, this is one of these areas where I'm just not like smart enough to know how trade works. So I'm gonna say agree, just because it does seem like the sometimes is giving me a little wiggle room. Xander says elites will always rise. It's human nature. Bingo. The problem is our inability as a species to govern ourselves without greed and gluttony, and that is why corporations need some small level of regulation. That is why they need regulation, not because we expect the corporations to shoot themselves in the foot and tell you everything that's in their dirty laundry. That is why. So some level of regulation is necessary, but it's not because the corporations are doing what they are set out to do. Zippy says, I saw that as monopoly making, so it's not a good thing. So what? If not, then we are at the mercy of countries with less scruples in protecting their workers with things like fair wages, which is why we have been sold out to China. So you're saying, is that to do with the protectionism? If not, yeah, okay. So you agree? Because I went with agree, not strongly agree. We'll come back to that if we need to. All right. The only social responsibility of a company should be to deliver profit to its shareholders. Disagree. The only fiduciary responsibility, absolutely. Responsibility. I'm getting caught up on the word social, because you want a company should want to have social ties, have reasons other than profit for people to like that company. But responsibility, is it their social responsibility? So no, I'm going to disagree. No, disagree. Their only responsibility is that fiduciary responsibility. Anything else is not a responsibility. It's something they probably should do if they want better results, but a responsibility, I'm going to say no. Nick says, my stepdad made me realize the biggest reason to try to cut consumption of oil is that we still don't have a good replacement for it in rubber. No tires, no travel, even if it's electric. Good one. Opus said we need more protectionism to counter China's poor treatment of workers. And Zippy follows up, though I suppose it could be sued to protect businesses with a nation, but politics and globalism kind of ruins it. Globalism ruins everything, eh? So I think, I think I'll stick with that. And yeah, so I'm trying to go on, as little or I want this based on what was already in my head before I brought this up. I don't want to be reading up on them now, because then that's going to be the opinion of, afterwards. So, okay, the rich are too highly taxed. I'm just going to go with a basic agree, because I believe that everybody is too highly taxed. Those with the ability to pay should have access to higher standards of medical care. Strongly agree. Capitalism, baby. Governments should penalize businesses that mislead the public. Depends on what. I mean, if you're, saying, oh, my product is going to make you so happy, and then you kind of don't like it, then the government should not be involved with that. But if you say, my product is going to make your hair grow back and you're bald, then you should definitely have something in there. So governments should penalize businesses that mislead the public. Is that, are we getting into, yes, deceit is bad. But again, do we want the government to be doing that? Or is it the free market that if you're selling, snake oil hair stuff and someone buys it and their hair doesn't grow back, everybody else is going to be like, yo, don't buy that shit because it doesn't work. I do believe that person should have legal recourse, though. So, I'm not purely libertarian. So I'm going to go with agree on that one. Xander said the government should make sure things aren't toxic or deadly. Misleading the public is part of marketing. I agree. But again, if it was more specific, then I'd be able to parse whether we're talking about something that is dangerous or whether we're talking about something that's just a little shady. And so because that the dangerous part is in there, I'm going to go with agree. Unwanted foes to my religion will promise you eternal happiness. Give me money and just pray. It works. Not. How many products are out there that lie through their teeth? Well, that's exactly my point. Is that the it's not the lying, it's the degree. But because that's not because that's not part of the question, then if you mislead the public and somebody gets hurt, then there should be some legal recourse. And, this is just like the polls that I make for you guys. They're purposely making them vague so that it's, up to your interpretation, because part of the test is not just the question, but it's how you interpret the question. So that's, full refunds. I mean, it depends on what. If you just don't like it, then that's on one thing. But if it causes you harm, then absolutely. There are a lot of ways companies can deceive the public in which average people don't have the resources or knowledge to bring to light. It's not as simple as, does this product work? Exactly. Full refunds counterbalance shady marketing. Oh, counterbalance shady marketing. I agree, but I'm not. We're not even going that far into what they should do. It just said penalize businesses. So whether that's a full refund, whether that is legal action, whether that is anything else, that can be discussed, but there should be some intervention. A genuine free market requires restrictions on the ability of predator multinationals to create monopolies. A genuine free market requires restrictions on the ability of multinationals. I feel really stupid right now. I'm going to say I disagree. I feel like it's a good idea in general, but requires, again, I'm going to say disagree. Let's say disagree. All right. Page 2. I agree. Where are we? Come on, pop up. Waiting for that Zippy comment. Yes, I agree, Zippy. That says if you have monopolies, it's not a free market. I agree. But the way the question was worded is about specifically the government and so what did I say? But yeah, so I think you're right about that. But I don't think that was necessarily the main point of the question. I think it was talking more about the multinational corporations and we can't, because there's different markets. That's how I interpreted it. Maybe I'm dumb. I have no idea. But who knows? Oba said the U.S. dropped the ball in anti-monopoly laws decades ago. All right, page 3. Now look at some of your personal social views. All right, this should be easy for me because this is my wheelhouse. All right. And please, guys, if you have not liked the video, please do so. Please hit that subscribe. Oh, you all did. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. Shout out to all of you guys. Much appreciated. Smash portion, when a woman's life is not threatened, should always be illegal. If it's not in danger, agree. All authority should be questioned. Strongly agree. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Disagree. An eye for an eye makes the world go blind. I understand the idea of punishment and justice, but and while the punishment should fit the crime, I think that if something is bad enough for it to deserve punishment, then there's consideration to why we wouldn't want to do the exact same thing. And so it's only in the most rare cases where we do actually, kill somebody for killing somebody else. And so I don't like the direct eye for an eye and tooth for a tooth. I think that, you could, pay restitution, you have whatever social pressures. If you go to jail, all this stuff, that's plenty enough. People, will either learn their lessons or not, and then, get stuck in the system. Taxpayers should not be expected to prop up any theaters or museums that cannot survive on a commercial basis. You guys aren't going to like this. But I disagree. I think it is very, very important for culture to be a part of what, if we are going to have a government, which I do think we have to have a government. If we're going to have a government, then part of that responsibility of that government is to foster the culture in that where they're governing. So I do agree. I do think that if there's things like art, music, just any creative endeavors, especially ones that can bring people together, even if it's not going to exist in making profit, there is value to the society other than the monetarily. Yeah, you disagree with that strongly? I don't know about strongly. I'm not saying the government has to do all these things, but I'm just saying it's not a hard no. But I'll stick with a regular disagree. All right. Schools should not make classroom attendance compulsory. Schools should not make classroom attendance. Yeah, I agree with that. Kind of feels like if you can pass the test, what does it really matter, right? All people have their rights, but it's better for all of us that different sorts of people should keep to their own kind. This is not asking about race. This is asking about sorts of people. And so when I am reading this question, I am thinking of this ideologically. I want to stress, I am not talking about race. I am reading this as ideologically different sorts of people should keep to their own kind. And I disagree with that, but I'm not going to strongly disagree, only because I think that it is important for you to be surrounded by people who share your values. But it's also important to share space with people who don't share your values so that you can test those values. And as a society, when we can test those values and move forward. But by and large, that shouldn't be the everyday. Things will move a lot better when we're kind of all on the same page. Society is better when like is able to find like.
Bingo.
Yeah, but again, do I want to go strong? Oh, wait. I'll be the reference. Yeah, this is one. So, keep is again, you got to look at the word keep to their own kind is where I don't want to go strongly. So I'm going to say agree because you want to be around your own kind, but you don't have to keep around your own kind. I don't know what that says. Is it Zippy? Sorry. Xander says, I live in a New York melting pot, and it's like a Frankenstein of conflicting identities. If that's surprising, because I feel like that aren't the big cities a lot more homogeneously liberal? I would expect the opposite. Well, I guess that makes sense. Xander said, 100 think people should be with their own kind, especially culturally. Yeah, I agree. But should you keep, when it says you should keep to your own kind, it implies that you shouldn't interact with people who are not of your kind. And that I don't agree with that part. So I'm not going to go with strongly agree. I'm going to go with agree. Oh, I knew that, but that's what I'm saying. I thought they were all liberal out there. I thought everybody in New York was liberal. That's so the worst social engineering ideas came out of these cities. Yep. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to buzz you. I meant to give you the laugh. All right. So we agree with that one, but not strongly. Okay. Good parents sometimes have to spank their children. I am going to do a soft disagree. I believe that if your child is old enough to understand reason, then you should be able to reason with them. If they are not old enough to understand reason, then they're not going to understand the reason that you're hitting them. Now, I don't have any kids. I was hit as a child, and I definitely didn't feel like it was necessary. And people might feel differently, but I feel pretty strongly that there's no need to hit the kids. I mean, I'm not going to go with strongly disagree because you might have some shitty kid, and you might be a shitty parent. And Xander disagrees, and that's fine. Again, that's fine. This is I disagree. I think that if you if the and so does Opus, but I think more kids need, instead of being beat. This is tantamount. This is tantamount. This is one for one. When you look at atheists and say, "Oh, you need Jesus."
Jesus fucking Christ!
I get what you're saying, but maybe that's not the right answer. Maybe that's not the right answer. Yes, something is needed there, but I don't think that it's capital punishment. Shout out to St. Michael, who gave me the idea to do this live on air. Moving on. It is natural for children to keep some secrets from their parents. Strongly agree. Possessing marijuana for personal use should not be a criminal offense. Strongly disagree. Just kidding. Just kidding. Come on. All right. The prime function of schooling should be equip the future generation to find jobs. Again, getting hung up on the word jobs. Because typically we say, I'm going to go, prime function of schooling should be to equip the future generation to find jobs. Yeah, I'll say agree, because even if it's not about getting into a corporate company and climbing that ladder, whatever it is you do for your livelihood, I think that schools should be catering to that. And the fact that right now they only kind of go the corporate track instead of having trade schools and stuff like that, then I think if they should just widen what school does instead of saying that, no, that's not what school is for. Opus says, I'm an extremely well-behaved kid. However, one time I called my mom a bitch to her face.
How dare you?
And got slapped. That slap was the right thing to do. Again, I disagree. I think if you were old enough to understand why that slap was the right thing to do, if you understand that you deserved a slap, then you could have understood why you needed that slap without the slap. And again, maybe I'm wrong about that. I don't have children, but that's just, my opinion. So he said, I agree, jobs are important, but prime function, they need to be taught self-sufficient, thus knowing the job market, etc. Yeah, so I do believe that even though school isn't really doing that, it's only sending them to the college corporate track, that what it should be, as it says in the question, what it should be, is to find a job, which is your livelihood, which is finding some way to provide for yourself. Wonder Post said, if done right, you only need to do a show of physical discipline one time. According to Machiavelli in the Prince, though that's more on a macro level. Xander says the primary function of school is to teach people how to think and specialize. But I agree, not strongly, as intelligence isn't always tied to a job. Agreed. Nick says, I get you. I wouldn't be amongst my kind if I was around the KKK. My white ass has much more in common with your brown ass. Yep. Yes, sir. Glad you're here and not there. Glad you're here and not there. All right, let's move on. If you haven't already, please like the video, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. People with serious inheritable disabilities should not be allowed to reproduce. Strongly disagree. I mean, like, maybe it's something that you should think of, but allowed? Allowed by who? You can tell, we're going to tell the government, or the government's going to tell you that you're not allowed to procreate? Nah, we ain't playing that. We ain't playing that. Moving on, the next, the most important thing for children to learn is to accept discipline. I know a lot of you are going to strongly agree with this one. I'm going to disagree. Because I think the called it. Shout out to the Camcast. What's good? Welcome. Yeah, I disagree. Not that children should not learn. It's not that children shouldn't learn to accept discipline. It's that I don't think the most important thing is for children. Agreed. 100%. You got it.
Bingo.
All right. There are no savage and civilized peoples. There are only... We don't even have to finish that one. Well, just in case you didn't see it, the question was, there are no savage and civilized peoples. There's only different cultures. No. Those who are able to work and refuse the opportunity should not expect society's support. Strongly agree. What do you guys got here? They can accept the punishment, they can grow. That's true, but again, that punishment doesn't have to be violence. St. Michael says, the offspring of such people will inevitably be a burden on society at an extremely disproportionate rate. Hey, if you are about big government and letting the government decide who can and can't have sex, take that position. That is not something that I believe. Moving on. When you are troubled, it's better not to think about it, but to keep busy with more cheerful things. This is a clusterfuck of reasons that that I hate the wording. So what does troubled mean? What does better mean? What is the timeline? What is not thinking? And all that stuff. This is way too complex of a question. It's better to not think about it, but to keep busy with more cheerful things. Because I'll tell you one thing. All those pills I snorted, they were plenty cheerful. But it wasn't a good thing to just literally keep my face in drugs instead of thinking about what was going on with me. Yeah, right? Insanely. And that's where I'm leaning. Tackle the issue full force. Again, I'm not disagreeing. But when it says allowed, we are talking about the government. You're comfortable with the government telling people? Are you comfortable with the government telling you that you can't procreate because you're too short, you're too fat, your hair's too thin? That's what that question is asking. No, thank you. Ugly people are gonna exist. It's gonna happen. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm gonna go and again, not strongly disagree because I don't think you should wallow in your issues, but you need to need to address them. Yeah, I stubbed my toe to shit. It's impossible. They're gonna all be troubled. So we'll stay safe with a disagree on this one. Made. Ricky Berwick's offspring being mutants is highly likely. I don't know who that is, but again, if that's the case, then I would say, hey, Ricky, maybe you should decide not to have children. I would not be in favor of the government. Like, and then what is that? What if he disobeys? What if he's fucking some girl? They're gonna break down the door and pull him off? Like, what are we talking about? No, that's ridiculous. So, I think a point that should, yeah, that would have been perfect. That would have been perfect. But I think an important thing that's popping out here is that we have to think further than just what do we want in the moment. We have to think about how what we want affects policy. That okay, we don't want Ricky to have a dad to have kids, but now we're giving the government the power to tell who can and can't have kids. So it's not about Ricky. It's about all of us and our rights. That I have the right to procreate with anybody who's willing to procreate with me. But and it doesn't matter because what is the cutoff? If there's a reason to start that line, eventually shortness is going to be on that list. So no, I will not genocide myself. Moving on. First generation immigrants. That's me. Or no. That's my parents. First generation immigrants. Yeah, no. That's my parents. Okay. First generation can never be fully integrated with their new country. Disagree. I mean, yeah, disagree. Just disagree. What's good for the most successful corporations is always ultimately good for all of us. No, disagree. Right? No, yeah, that's dumb. Okay, no broadcasting institution, however independent its contact, should receive public funding. Again, this is the same thing with the museums and stuff. There is a lot of cultural power and value in that which can be on the television that can help. Happy 4th of July, even though you're not American, you're one of us. Thank you for stopping by. See ya next time. Yeah, we're gonna get. All right, we're on page 4 of 6, guys. All right, how we see the wider society. All right, the wider society. Our civil liberties are being excessively curbed in the name of counterterrorism. Yup. A significant advantage of a one-party state is that it avoids all the arguments that delay progress in a democratic political system. Significant advantage is that it avoids all. That is an advantage. Well, it depends on how. Again, we have to look at the word. An advantage to that party or an advantage to the people living there. Because if that party wants something bad and they can just, then I don't think that's good. So it would exactly. That's I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, what? Hey, shout out to Melted Mind Media, another awesome YouTuber. Welcome to the party. Yeah. So we're gonna go with disagree. Do I even want to strongly disagree? Significant advantage. Yeah, I'm going to strongly disagree on that. I think, the marketplace of ideas. Let everyone be heard. Although the electronic age makes official surveillance easier, only wrongdoers need to be worried. Strongly disagree. Exactly. Yeah, see, well, for the party, it's good. For the party, there's no pushback. But that's exactly why it's tyranny. Because they could just do whatever they want. And the question removes the checks and balances that make our country so like they say, the wheels of justice, the wheels of it's supposed to go slowly. That was built into the process so that somebody couldn't just come in and take over. Gonna try and restream this week and try and stream games regularly. Word up, get to it, dude. All right, the death penalty should be an option for the most serious crimes. Again, I'm going to disagree because I don't trust the government. That doesn't mean that I don't believe that there are crimes where a penalty of death might be warranted. I just don't trust the government to dispel that. And again, I'm not surprised, Michael, that you would want the government to decide who can live and die and who can be born or not. And yeah, NPR sucks, but did you it's out there. Are you that worse off because NPR exists? Anybody who listens to NPR doesn't know what they're talking about. And if they quote NPR points, they don't know what they're talking about. So again, you're just thinking about what you want as opposed to how the country should be run. Everybody in the country isn't you. In a civilized society, one must always have people above to be obeyed and people below to be commanded. Yeah, that sounds right. Right? Okay. Then make a YouTube channel and affect the masses yourself. It's America. That's the point. I think I agree with that. There's always going to be hierarchies. People are always going to be better than other people at certain things. Abstract art that doesn't represent anything shouldn't be considered art at all. I'm going to go with a soft agree because I don't get it, but that doesn't mean that there's not something there. I don't know. I'm going to go with agree, though. In criminal justice, punishment should be more important than rehabilitation. Disagree. Do I want to strongly disagree? No. Should be. I'm stuck on should be. Yeah. So let's say it shouldn't be more important. It should be as important. It is a waste of time to try and rehabilitate some criminals. That I'll definitely agree. Not strongly agree. Yeah, no, I can strongly agree with that. There are definitely some who it's no point. So definitely strongly agree on that one. What do we got? Our justice system does not put much effort into rehabilitation. I know, and that's why it sucks. That's why it sucks. It should be much better. It should be focused on rehabilitation, but instead it's focused on retribution, and that's why it sucks. You do the time, you do the crime. I mean, I'm not saying it shouldn't be a part at all. I just don't think it should be the most important part. It shouldn't be more important than rehabilitation, in my opinion. Nick says, my mom always explained to me why she wanted or didn't want me to do something. She swatted me maybe 2 or 3 times just to get my attention. I responded well to explanations, but not well to getting hit. Just saying. How do you know that you wouldn't be saying the exact same thing if your mom took the time to explain things to you the way Nick's mom did? You don't know that. You don't have an alternative timeline. You're like, well, I'm fine. You could have been better. You're certainly not great. Opus says, no one is saying that crime shouldn't be punished. Exactly. Just whether that should be the primary goal.
Bingo.
Zippy says, it's focused on keeping them in the system as slaves to make money from. Yep. And this is, we're not, this is going back to children. We were talking about capital punishment for children. So Nick was talking about, whether kids should be hit. And we're not talking about lectures. We're talking about explanations. So if you want to call that a lecture, then, and we're not talking about a criminal, then a child, loving lecture from a loving parent who understands is going to do a lot more than an angry parent. The business person and the manufacturer are more important than the writer and the artist. Disagree. That's just, I mean, they're important in different ways. So I wouldn't say one is more important than the other. You can't have the business without the art. You can't have anything to market without the art, or you can't have any, you won't get anything out of the art without the business, you know? Wilto says, honestly, it depends on the a kid. Some should be beaten. Again, I would need evidence for that, because everybody who has stories like this has, has this similar type of story. So the only thing that you have is that, oh, I was a really bad kid. I definitely needed punishment, which again, you're conflating the idea with punishment with the idea of hitting. The same way people say, oh, you need Jesus. Well, maybe you just need a moral structure. So again, we're not disagreeing that punishment isn't needed. We're disagreeing on what that punishment must be. And you're the ones claiming it must be physical punishment. And so if you have some data on that, I'd love to read it. But as far as I spare the rod and spoil the child, yeah, well, but this was before we had the psychological understandings of what was going on. In 1930, we didn't understand enough about child development to be able to explain what was going on. We just didn't know, so you just smack the shit out of the kid, and that's all there was. But now we understand. Oh, okay, kids do this at this age because they think this, and it's your responsibility as a parent to understand how to best raise your child. And if you're going to use violence where it's not necessary in the place of loving explanation, and you're going to tell me that's better parenting, nah, I'm going to disagree. Open said a punishment-focused justice system just creates smarter criminals instead of giving them tools to choose other paths rather than crime. Yeah, I completely agree. And yep, it's been going on for a long time. Zippy said some kids need a shock to the system and no words will work. Okay, again, how do you know that? Show me those kids. Usually those kids have terrible parents. It's not the kid, it's the parents. St. Michael said, can we cite increased violent crime rates among the youth and sparing the rod in the 21st century? No, because correlation is not causation. Moving on. Mothers may have careers, but their first duty is to be homemakers. Why is there no neutral? I don't give a fuck. I mean, I'm gonna go with agree because, like, yes, that should be your first duty. But like, if a mother wants to be a boss babe and dude wants to be a beta dad, then be happy. I don't give a shit. Like, just raise the kid right. Multinational companies are unethically exploiting the plant genetic resources of developing countries. I didn't say they weren't linked, but I didn't say they weren't linked, but they're not. It's not a causal thing. So we could say that. Sure, yeah. Let's cite that. Let's say that there is a small part of that. You win. That still doesn't account for every other reason that children are changing. But you take your cake and eat it. So I'm not really sure on this one. Multinational companies are unethically exploiting the plant genetic resources of developing countries. I guess I agree. That does sound right. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that. Like, making peace with the establishment is an important part of an important aspect of maturity. Ooh, this is a tough one. Not because of, again, it's the wording. Making peace. Making peace doesn't mean accepting. Making peace doesn't mean supporting. Making peace means finding a way to not be violent. And so I think I hate that it's doing this to me, because I think that the point of this question is more to ask if you're going to fall in line. Yes, that's what it says, establishment. I think it's important to understand how the game works and to work within the establishment. I don't think it's important to accept that the establishment is the way it is. I don't think it's important to support what the establishment does. But making peace is a different thing. So I'll say agree. I'll say agree. Begrudgingly agree. I would definitely put a neutral on that if I could. All right, page 5, the penultimate page. All right, if you got through that okay, you'll find these propositions on religion a breeze. I bet you I will. Astrology accurately explains many things. You cannot be moral without being religious. Charity is better than Social Security as a means of helping the genuinely disadvantaged. Some people are naturally unlucky. It is important that my child's school instills religious values. Boom. That was an easy one. Easy. Strongly disagree. I don't really know which one. It's not about violence, but being active and fight the system wherever you can. But again, you can fight peacefully. This show right now, what I'm doing right at this very moment, what you are doing at this very moment by being part of this, is fighting the establishment. But we've made peace with the fact that we can't go and, assassinate politicians, even though we don't even want to do that, right? We know that we can't do that. And so what do? We work within the establishment. And again, it's the idea of you wanting to say that we're definitely not going to accept that is where like, oh, no, screw that. But that's not what the question is. That's not what the question is. So when you make peace, you give in and move on. Yes. Yeah. You have to realize that you can't just go and hit people that you don't like. You have to use your words. That's what making peace means. All right. And the last page. A look at sex.
Haram!
All right. Sex outside marriage is usually immoral. Disagree. Same-sex couples in a... Oh, wow. That is an oddly placed comma. A same-sex couple in a stable.
What?
Oh, loving relationship. All right. A same-sex couple in a stable, loving relationship should not be excluded from the possibility of child adoption. Agree. And I'll tell you why. Because there are way more straight couples who apply for foster stuff and adoption stuff that are way worse of people and parents than two dudes who are upstanding people and just happen to like to fuck each other. And I know you disagree, Michael. I understand that you disagree. I know that you think that, but I don't. P-Hub content depicting consenting adults should be legal, obviously. What goes on in a private bedroom between consenting adults is no business of the state. Strongly agree. No one can feel naturally homosexual. As opposed to unnaturally homosexual?
What?
I'd have to say strongly disagree. I'd imagine if you're homosexual, it comes pretty naturally to you. Opus said they should have used they should have used and instead through seeing there were only, I don't know what that says. Xander said, I struggle with that question myself as a gay man, but I do believe that a child's best chance is a mother and a father. But the reality of the world is many people do not have that. Exactly. They don't even have that. And the fact is that what little I know about you, Xander, let's say that you and you married some dude who was just like you. I would much rather have a child be raised by you two than a single mother. I would much have you two where you are intelligent, you're worldly, you have the money to pay for resources, all that kind of stuff. And I mean, I don't care what that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing to me. If you're gay, that's fine. I don't care. So the idea that a kid might turn out gay because their parents are gay, which is, again, I don't believe that's how it works, is not a problem in my eyes. As long as they're not trying to make the kid gay, As long as they're not trying to make other people gay, then I don't give a shit. I'm just gonna get Bozo. You can just, we're not gonna put that up, but like you can either be part. Actually, I don't really care. Xander said there are tons of children in need of even just one parent, and it's a sad world out there. Yep. And some people are willing to let those children suffer because of their own bigoted ideas. And that's, again, that's fine for you to think that. I'm not saying you're not allowed to think that, but that is what you think. Except he said the religious harm more kids per capita than the gays. Fight me. I am talking shit, but I gotta fight the BS with the BS. I mean, I'm gonna call it out when I gotta call it out. We don't know how much the Catholic Church actually does because they hide it way, way, way better than like schools and shit. So it's kind of neck and neck. I mean, when you put people in a position of power for children, they're going to abuse it. That's just the nature of humanity. The worst of us are going to find those roles. Nick says, often you forgive someone not for them, but for yourself. If you don't have to carry around that anger, why would you? Bingo. Spot on. Spot on. Zippy says to Xander, I feel a wide gap in personalities is the thing. I don't know what you guys are talking about, but glad you guys agree. All right, come on, bro. I'm not going to answer the same question all over. So if Dave Rubin adopts 3 kids and 2 of them end up being gay, can we call it indoctrination? I would have questions. If 2 out of 3 kids are turn out gay, I would have questions. Do I think that's a bad thing? No. Do I think that's a statistically normal thing? No. So I would definitely have questions. Ever heard of a bris?
Haram!
Oh yeah. I had to ask because of the low hanging. Yeah, I mean, trust me, I've spoken very many times about how, you know, using your mouth to cut off a piece of a baby's dick is not only weird, but disgusting. You act like I'm solely anti-Christian. I'm anti all religions equally. They are all equally stupid in my eyes. Familiarity is not always indoctrination. True, but again, it would be a little weird. It would be a little like it would make me question. 2 of the kids are gay? Then again, no, not then again. Because we do see the social contagion aspect. We remember the video of that mom who was live on TikTok with the 2 kids, and somebody asked, does your mom make you be part of it? And the mom didn't understand the question, so the young kid started answering. He's like, oh, no, she doesn't make us. She says as long as... And the older kid was like, no, shut up. And again, the mom didn't understand. She's like, no, let him talk. And it's like, no, as long as we're part of it. And we're like, part of what? Part of the LGBT community. It's fine. We don't care if we're gay or anything else, as long as we're part of it. The jig is up. That is indoctrination. And so, yeah, if that was something that was going on, I wouldn't have questions about what, like, little odd. And I agree. This is horrible. Bridges happen every day in the USA, and they're 100% legal. They're 100% disgusting. They're 100% unnecessary. They should be outlawed. Just like female gender, what do they call it? FGM. I mean, in Uganda and Ethiopia, they do it with like a stone. Here, I think I think it's illegal here, but in other countries, they'll do it in a more medical setting. But they cut off the clit of little girls. They have breast binding. These are all dogmatic practices. These are all dogmatic rituals. So I agree with you, St. Michael, but your practices aren't any better. Xander said the Vatican just knows how to successfully point the finger elsewhere.
Bingo!
Zigbee says to the Camcast about parents, rather than mother-father, a wide gap in personalities, and the parents shows enough range in the behavior and gives the kids more to learn. So you're saying, so what I think you're saying, and I think I do agree if this is what you're saying, that if you have, like, let's say you have a gay couple, but you have a super feminine dude and a super butch ass, red-pilled Chad dude, then that's probably going to be a better environment for a child to be raised than,
Oh, hell no.
Yeah, I mean, Nick says your sexuality is just like your skin color. It does not dictate whether you are moral or immoral, or an immoral person. good gay parents would be preferable to any bad parents. I think so anyway, and I agree. There's a difference between a practice and a ritual, and lone wolf bad actors. Agreed. I don't see the relevance, but I do agree. Nope. My father's Gordon. Ooh, oh, okay. Yeah. Gordon. All right, moving on. We're almost done. These days, openness about sex has gone too far. Oh, wow. That's it. We're done. All right. I wish I had a drum roll. Let's do this. Ba-ba-ba. Wait, where's the dot? Oh, am I right here? Interesting. Oh, okay. I was like, what? Let's see. Just show me. Okay, there we go. Boom, baby! Dead center. Look at that. Dead center near the libertarian side. What did I tell you? Dead center, left to right, slightly to the right. Slightly. There's maybe not even. It might be dead center, but dead center, left to right, and far down into the not far down, but nicely down into the libertarian spot. So let's go look at the thumbnail and where I predicted I would be versus where I really am. Let's one more time. We're here versus that. So I mean, again, I made the thingy on the thumbnail. I made it a little bit bigger to give myself some wiggle room. So I am definitely less libertarian than I thought. I was less libertarian than I thought, because I'll be honest. Can I pull here? So it's not gonna, whatever. But like, yeah, I made the thingy here much bigger so that, and I thought I'd be lower down on the libertarian scale. So that's, I'm a little, kind of butthurt that I wasn't further down on the libertarian scale. But I do think that it makes sense, because given the world we live in, I don't think that the ideal of that, like, anarchistic capitalistic society that is so far from reality, that makes sense. That we do need the government to stave off the authoritarianism and the leftism, and that maybe in the future that we would be able to see. Let's see. St. Michael said he wasn't too far. Let's see what his thing was. Almost there. Okay. So this, and I am assuming, but I believe you said, what the fuck? There we go. I believe, Michael, you said that this is where you expected me to end up. This is what you put in the Discord. So you put that, and you not too far off, but a lot further left than you thought. A lot. You put it a lot further left than I actually am. I mean, so I mean, maybe I'm not an SJW, bro. Maybe I'm just a centrist. Maybe I just am in the middle. We all fall into the same area. Seems about right. Close to that as well. 2 points to the right. Bit lower. Shout out to Zippy. Spot on. Yeah, I was again I'm a little closer to the center of the social scale than I would like to be. But yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that. Yeah, you did. You were closer than I was. So very interesting. Very interesting. I gotta. let's snip this. And that'll be a perfect thing to boom, boom. All right. Well, making some noms. Who's got some barbecue stuff going? So that is that. This is me, guys. This is me. I mean, if you ever had any questions, you just saw me live. Yeah, dead center, dead center, dead center. I mean, come on, come on, come on. That is awesome. So yes, I'm sure you guys have some tasty barbecue chicken, ribs, anything else to enjoy on this fabulous Independence Day. Shout out to America, the greatest country in the world, where even though I could be, dead center, some of you could be super far right, some of you could be super far left, some of you could be authoritarian, some of you could be more libertarian, and we can all come together. We can all come together and discuss the issues that are at hand and not be stuck on, well, you're lower on the libertarian scale, so this, that, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And so, I mean, I'm not going to question the results. I mean, this is a standard. So as long as everybody's taking the same test, then this is, I expected to be a little bit lower on, I expected to be about here. I like to think of myself as a libertarian, and maybe not. I think if I, what would you call that? What would you call that? What would we say that a person who has that, like, libertarian centrist, or, I mean, yeah, I really don't know. So and it's not about me agreeing or disagreeing. I have my opinions. My opinions are my opinions. I just wanted to see what they thought of my opinions. And so I agree that this is what they think of my opinions. And that's totally fine, because this is they're using the same algorithmic whatever to judge other people's opinions. So I'm very happy with that. And I wouldn't be, if it was anything different, it wouldn't change, my opinion about unless it like put me in authoritarian left or right. I'd be like, this test is whack. But awesome. So it looks like most of you didn't get any rain. So shout out to the weather barbecue for you. You guys go enjoy that. Thank you so much for hanging out. Morty's like, it's been raining and storming here. So Morty is stuck under the table. Not stuck under the table, but lying down under the table. But once again, thank you so much for hanging out with me, guys. I really do appreciate it. Happy 4th of July. Until next time, which is tomorrow, I am out of here. Peace.